So, everyone. So at first about the structure, about the hangars. These hangars, they are forming roughly 1/3 of Riga Central Market, because the hangars is not the entire market. If you go out, it's just going on, going on, going on. That's why Riga Central Market is considered the second largest market in Europe. First one, Grand Bazaar, Istanbul, Turkey. If you have been there, you know it's just enormous. Impossible to compete. But it's a little bit up for discussion. Turkey is Europe or not? I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying there's a slight possibility that we have the biggest market or at least a decent second place. So altogether it's taking around 65,000 square meters. So it's quite a big territory. About the buildings, they are not originally from Riga. So it sounds confusing, I will explain. During the First World War in 1915, Germans built aviation base on modern-day border, Latvia, Lithuania, in a tiny village called Vaņoda. In this military base, Germans were keeping their zeppelins, their blimps, those big floaty things dropping bombs. After the war, Latvia purchased those hangars from Germany, took them down, transported to Riga, and assembled back, making the market in 1930. And you could be wondering how you can move such a structure. Those ornaments and decorations you saw from outside, they are added later in the style of Art-Deco. The zeppelin hangar is this metal skeleton, this rib cage. And you can see it's holding together by bolts. So you break apart the bolts and deconstruct new bolts, and it's again standing. So by the theory, if there is a need, we can move this away again. And every hangar, maybe you noticed, is serving a different food category. This is for vegetables, before there was for the dairy products, the next one is for the fish, and a little bit away there is for meat. So, about cuisine. There the story gets a little bit more complicated. Because when you are traveling, you are looking for the traditional cuisine, right? What people are eating right here. Like, I don't know, you go to Belarus, you try draniki. You go somewhere in Spain, it could be tapas. You go to Berlin, it's currywursts and so on. But in Riga, we are a little bit missing this, how to say, country on a plate. Because through the centuries, we have lost traditional cuisine. We have literally absorbed German kitchen as our own. If you go out to some diner, I'm not talking about like fine dining, but simple diner for lunch, you will have carbonade, which is a variation of schnitzel, sauerkraut, wursts, and the main dish beer. So not so much of a difference as in Central Europe. Plus we have a lot of reminders about Soviet Union, when every Eastern European country was like a melting pot of cultures. So borsch, goulash, salyanka, and things like that as well. So it's like German/Eastern Europe. But we have something else. We have something what I would call a traditional approach to eating. Because what is the main trend today, 2018? What's the main trend in eating? It's bio shops. It's gluten-free, and it's chia seeds and kale. All of those silly things. In Baltics, we are smiling, not to say laughing, about these trends, because they are trends. Let's be honest, how many gluten-free people you knew like 6 years ago? This is poof, appeared from nowhere. It was so cool to post on Instagram your picture of eco, schmecko, vegan, beef root cake. Hashtag go green. So for some people, I understand it's a lifestyle. And for some people, it is a health issue. I understand and I respect that. But it was trending. You know, you put a hashtag in front of something, it goes viral. And we were not smiling like, haha, that's a silly thing. We were smiling because for us it's not a trend, it's a daily life for centuries. Meaning we don't need bio shops. We don't need all of this posh nonsense. We have this. This is not that market of Riga, it's only the biggest. Meaning in every little bits of suburbs there will be a smaller community market. And I really do not want to offend my own nationality, but we Latvians are basically a bunch of peasants. So green and eco, that's already in our culture, in our blood. Almost every Latvian, also Lithuanians and Estonians, have at least one countryside relative, including myself. If Saturday, Sunday I don't have walking tours like this, I'm driving roughly 3 hours to my countryside, helping out like chopping wood or something. In return, potatoes, veggies, pork, and in summer fish and mushrooms. In my fridge is coming from my own farm. And it's not like my family are some eco-freaks or a bunch of hippies or something like that. And if I'm not mistaken, you were from Lithuania, right? You have some countryside relatives. Of course, what a stupid question, right? So in Baltics, this is the norm. And this obviously makes us picky customers, because we are used to good quality food. Right now it's the season for tomatoes. And in winter, when there is no tomatoes, they are coming from the Netherlands. And if you are European, you know the famous Dutch plastical tomatoes. You can play tennis with them. They basically bounce around the floor. So we don't buy them so much, because they taste like nothing, basically. So in winter, what we are eating, if it's possible to pickle, we will pickle it. If it's impossible to pickle, trust me, we will find a way. So if it fits in a jar, it goes in a jar. So at that side of the market, you can buy the most random pickled things. Not only cucumbers or tomatoes, but garlic and mushrooms and spices and so on. So go wild over that. Then, to describe Latvian eating, I think two things are needed. Seasonal and local. If something is applying to these two things, I'm calling that Latvian cuisine. It's like an eating philosophy. So right now the season is for two things, what I'm definitely recommending for you. You're from France, you definitely know Chanterelles. Those bright yellow mushrooms. Maybe you noticed they were selling them outside, big boxes of them. And the thing is, they're not coming from some mushroom farms or something like that. More than 50% of all territory is covered by forests. So actual people are taking basket and a knife, going to the countryside and chopping them down. And you know, when you are living in your own country, in your own city, you think everything is norm. This is how things are happening globally. And then you start to travel, and then you are starting to find out that some things you are doing are strange. For example, one good friend of mine, he moved to live to UK, to Manchester. And every autumn he's doing the same. He's taking a basket and a knife and going and chopping down mushrooms in the local forest. And the English people were like, hey, are you starving? You know, you can buy mushrooms while you are taking them from the forest. And he was like, nope, Latvian lifestyle. So we are like almost on the brink of being gatherer-hunter society. So these things are important. Second bit, what I'm strongly recommending, fish. We have 600 kilometers of coastline, a lot of rivers, a lot of lakes. So fish, it's a really big part of our cuisine. In every restaurant, there's at least a couple of decent fish options. But two things what you could take as a souvenir. Number one, sprotes. Sprotes, it's Baltic herring. It's a tiny fish, looks like a sardine. We smoke it until it turns this golden foil color, then in can in oil. And it's not like a delicacy, it's what we are eating on a daily basis. Like when you go to France, you buy sardines. When you come to, sorry?
Also plato, you can find plato.
Oh, you also?
We buy very often.
Latvian?
In France?
Yes.
In France we find.
Okay, that's something new. So, okay, you can take your own sprots, not buy ours, but ours are better. So the thing is, how to eat that? I'm usually taking rye bread, you know this dark bread, right, which is popular in Latvia. Rye bread, good butter, sprotes, a little bit of spring onion. Amazing breakfast. Terrible breath, but amazing breakfast. As with every fish food, buy some peppermint as well. Second thing, do you know what's lamprey? No one? You know eel? Eel. Looks like a snake, right? Lamprey is like a smaller and uglier version, like 20 centimeters long. Looks like a slimy snake. By the theory of biology, it's not a fish, it's a parasite. It doesn't have a jaw, its mouth is like round shape with set of teeth going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. It's straight from nightmares. It's basically like a leech. It finds the tastiest fish in the river and sucks everything out. It sounds disgusting. I can see that some of you are disgusted. But Latvians are like, we will eat that. That's the local delicacy. So how do we are cooking this? We are putting lamprey in oven, so roasting, and then in herbal tea jelly. So jelly boiled together with herbal teas. So this is quite a unique taste. Meaning it's fusing together two amazing things, fishy or parasite with herbal. So you will love it, or you will be extremely disgusted. It's the same if you have been to Scotland with haggis. It's like love or hate, no middle grounds. But you should definitely try it, because it's as close to traditional cuisine as we can get. Then one more thing about customer culture. I have noticed that people are making one little mistake when they are coming to the market on their own. Quite a lot of tourists, they have this sort of mystical impression about Eastern Europe, and I have seen how many tourists are trying to bargain about prices. We don't do that. That's a big no-no. It's European Union, so prices are fixed. If it's written €1.10, it's €1.10. If you will try to lower the price by bargaining, it's considered extremely rude. But if you are, you are offending the quality of the product, and then the salespersons will become grumpy right away. So no bargaining. Then do we have someone from UK today? Right? No one? Oh, you. Cool. Some people. So the next story, it's not for you. So you simply will have no useful information out of that. So enjoy the architecture. The rest of us. European Union are working for new regulations. That's called Brexit jokes. I know it's the lowest form of comedy, but hey, easy target. So the new regulations state that in every place where you are selling some food, you will be obligated to show from where it's coming from. Because right now we have this slightly bizarre system. You can go in shopping center in Berlin, Helsinki, Riga, Vilnius, take a cheese, it could be written product of EU, and that's enough. What is EU? It's enormous territory, right? So the cheese could be coming from like every corner, which language the cows are speaking, you know? So in this market, this is done for quite a long time, without any regulations from EU. When you go through, next to every product there's a piece of paper with the price, on top the name of the product, below from where it's coming from. And usually they are really specific. Like there on the corner where is the first veggies, there I'm usually buying my basil, because they are growing it in their own greenhouse. And then they are writing not Latvia but Iecava, the specific city, specific village. Then if you would be buying a fish, let's say sturgeon, it won't be written Latvia or Finland, but name of the river, of the fish farm, meaning it's coming from the nature or it's grown artificially. If you would buy honey, usually it's written medus, which is honey in Latvian, and below first and last name of the beekeeper. And you could be wondering why such attention to the details. It's simple, it's business. Because we are a really small country, less than 2 million people here. If you are making your business, you are fighting for your customers, not in the groups of tens of thousands. You literally fight for every customer. So quality is the key of success. So basically this competition between different companies is all the time increasing quality. So this is the thing what I would recommend the most as a souvenir from Riga. Local foods, local drinks. The quality will be top shelf, but the prices will be affordable. Because they are meant not for you, but for us and for our daily income. So, any questions?
Details for the drinks?
About drinks, definitely beer. Because, again, big stereotype, if you are coming from east of Berlin, you are drinking a bucket of vodka per day. Nope, for us it's the good old German heritage, so beer. And the same trend as everywhere, it's craft beer, microbreweries. And actually, you gave the question in a really nice spot, I'm recommending that, Latvijas. Because in Latvijas, they are really turning beer brewing into art form. They are doing a lot of experimentation with tastes. Like my favorite beer, it's with juniper berries. So not only from hops, as typical beer, but different plants, different berries. And if I'm making red meat, like steak, I'm always buying juniper beer. It's an amazing combination. So that would be a good option. Then in the city center, there's amazing, it's a shop for one brewery, and there's a restaurant as well. It's called Alchimitis, alchemist in Latvian, Alchimitis. And their strong side, in my opinion, is IPAs. If you like IPAs, that's the spot to hit. But definitely, Latvian beer scene, it's quite big. In every spot you have at least some 6 options. Something more? Eating, drinking, customer culture? About sweets, there's a biggest sweets company, precisely Lima, that's for chocolate, but there's one specific dessert, Old Riga. Old Riga in Latvian would be Vats Riga. Vats, Old Riga is Riga. So Vats Riga, it's a puff pastry filled with extremely sweet cottage cheese. If you buy that, I'm strongly recommending to take an espresso with that. Because when you give the first bite, it's super sweet. You need something stronger to just balance. So yeah, that's really typical thing because it's invented in this city.
Where can you find that?
Sorry?
Where can you find it?
In basically every pastry shop, every bakery, they have at least a variation of that. It's like small round balls, like pellets basically.
Tipologie di cucina ho servito molto la testa, quella del e quindi tipo gli altri casi, sono simili a quelli oppure altre cose come si chiama poi c'è di recente c'è la cosa anche l'uso del mangiare senza glutine, senza